When it comes to cutting out your pieces, you're going to have a few options. Your instructor will point out if you can use certain bandsaws. Remember, if you're using the bandsaws, we'll point out in a second that you're going to need to make sure you turn on the dust collector down on the far end. Another option you're going to have of using is one of these scroll saws that may be located in your room. We'll point out how to use those and the proper safety when it comes to those as well. Once again, when we're using those, we have a dust collector that we will end up using. There are also some hand brooms down on the side of each that you'll help to clean up. When I'm ready to cut, there's a couple of things I need to make sure. One of them is I need to make sure the blast gate is open for whatever bandsaw I'm using. If none of the other ones are being used, make sure they're closed. If both 3 and 4 are being used, make sure they're open. Once again, the air hose might be out. Remember not to touch that. You guys are not allowed to use it. If there are ones set up that your instructor pointed out for another class, make sure you don't touch or use those. If all the bandsaws are available to use, make sure you use the one closest to the dust collector and start working and filling our way through as we go as needed. If you're going to bandsaw number 1, once again, we check to make sure all other blast gates are closed. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure number 4 is closed, 3 is closed. If there's any other tools along the line are closed, 2 is closed. And I'm going to open up blast gate number 1. I'm then going to go ahead and turn on the dust collector, making sure though that the lower gate is closed because I'm not cleaning the floor, and the upper gate is open. Once I do so, I'll turn this on and I'll be ready to make my cuts. A quick reminder, our fingers should never be anywhere inside the red or orange marks. And if our hand is, we simply use one hand to make that cut. An example of that would be our small 2 7/8. You'll notice when I go to cut, it's kind of on that edge. So if I'm holding, I have the choice of either putting it right here, but nowhere inside here, or I come over here. So I can pinch that corner, or I can simply move my hand over here. The light, you want to kind of place right in there. Remember, we do not move this guard. This piece should fit just through the bandsaw without hitting the other one in my room. It's not a guarantee in the other room. Your instructor will point that out. When you go to cut, you're going to turn it on. You're going to cut right down the roadway. We turn the bandsaw off. Wait for it to come to a complete stop. We remove our pieces. This piece, you will notice, will not fit in. You'll simply turn it, cut the other little short side off. Once again, I cut right down the roadway. I turn it off. I wait for it to come to a complete stop. I take that piece out. You won't be able to finish cutting this one on the bandsaw. You're going to have to use the scroll saw to do so. I then would go ahead and continue cutting the rest of my pieces out, simply going down the roadway. When I get to the piece that has the scrap, remember I'm going to cut on the side of the X, leaving my line on best I can. That piece will just fit through the bandsaw, hopefully. Going right against that edge. Once again, that's too small, so I move my hand over. Do not reach in and grab that scrap. Once again, you turn it off. Wait for it to come to a complete stop. There's a little push rod right down here. Take that out, push that piece out and away, then pick it up. Hang the push rod right back up where it belongs. Once again, this piece should just fit inside there, cutting to that side of the X. Rotate it around, cut right between the lines. Once again, I'm going to have a small scrap piece. I use my hand off to the side, cutting on the side that has the X. I turn it off, wait for it to come to a complete stop. I reach down, I grab the push stick, push it out and around. I then hang the push rod back up. I will have 2 scraps so far. You should have 2 A's, 2 B's, 2 E's, an arm, and 2 D's. The letter C's, I'm going to have to cut out using the scroll saw. If I'm the last one cutting, I turn the dust collector off. Right down here is a dustpan. I take it. I clean up my table. You'll find the trash can. Dump it off into the trash can. Hang it right back up where you got it. To cut these pieces, we're going to use the scroll saw, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do that in a second. With my pieces, I have a couple of options. I can take these back to my station, or I can set them neatly down in a pile on one of the open tables. You are going to use a scroll saw to cut out a piece that has the letter C's because they're too long to fit in the bandsaw. Once again, you're more than likely going to have a couple of them in my room. You're going to choose the one closest to the vacuum. You're going to go make sure the blast gate is shut on the far one. You're going to make sure the close one's blast gate is open. These should be adjusted if they're not. So if your piece doesn't fit underneath there, you're going to notice though it's a little tight when it fits down. Your instructor will adjust for you if you can't fit it in. But it's going to put a little bit of firm pressure. You're going to have an air nozzle that lines up and kind of puffs down at the angle. And you're going to have a light that's going to be shining down. There's a knob right up here at top that controls the speed of your scroll saw. I can either speed it up or I can slow it down. What that looks like is this. Right now it's on super slow. If I want the light on, there's a switch right above for the light. When I turn this to the right, it's going to speed up. So you can control the speed of your cuts. I will tell you it works better at a faster speed, but if it scares you, simply slow it down. Once again, you're going to go ahead, turn on the vacuum. You're then going to turn on your saw. You're going to cut on the side with the X. Going nice and easy through your piece, leaving the line on. You're going to do the same. Once again, just use one hand off to the side. Cut on the side that has your X, leaving your line on. Once again, before you reach in, turn that saw off. Wait for it to stop. You can turn the light off as well. Take that little scrap out of there. Your fingers need to stay outside here anytime it's on. That's why there's that little orange. That's why I had my hand off to the side. Once again, you can grab a dustpan. If you're like my room where the trash can's right there, you can just kind of clean off that mess off towards the trash can. But we use the dustpan, we hang it back up. With your scraps, check with your instructor on what they want you to do with them. They may want you to keep them, they may want you to throw them away, but they will let you know.